The PR industry is rapidly evolving. With a dramatically changed media environment, new technologies everywhere, the importance of data, and a blurring of the marketing disciplines, it's hard to know where to focus to build your agency and grow your business. We're looking ahead and helping agencies capitalize on the opportunities of today and tomorrow. We're the PR Council, and this is the Agencies of the Future podcast. Welcome to the PR Council's Agency of the Future podcast. My name is Kim Sample, and I'm the president of the PR Council. Every week, I have the pleasure of talking with a different leader in our industry and learning what they're doing to build an agency of the future. Today, my guest is Jim Joseph, the global president of BCW. Welcome, Jim.
Hi, thank you.
Such a perky start, right?
My new BFF.
Awesome. Well, let's start first with your role as global president of BCW, and then we're going to move on to talking about the PR Council and your exciting new opportunity there. So much has been said and written about Harold Burson since he passed a few weeks ago. What has this outpouring of affection meant to you and the people of BCW?
It's been absolutely amazing. I can't say that we're surprised by it because it's Harold. I mean, we knew that there would be an incredible amount of people coming forward to talk about him and want to pay his respects. So we're not surprised by it at all. But it's so life-affirming, I have to say that. Like, just to see the kind of affection and regard and respect that he still had and will continue to have on people that he touched and the number of people that he touched.
The number of people. I mean, it's so inspiring, isn't it?
Mind-boggling.
That one person's life and career has an impact on so many.
That's what's been just unbelievable. And he would be so happy, like so happy. This is exactly what he would have wanted, is to hear all the folks coming forward and talking about him.
And it's so awesome because it has been a few weeks now, and I do get to attend a lot of industry events in my role, and I feel like everywhere there's this storytelling of personal conversations with Harold, how he inspired someone, took care of someone, gave great advice, how he led a client. It's really cool. The storytelling will just go on and on.
On and on, on and on.
So being a leader at BCW and the personal interactions that you had with Harold, do you feel some particular responsibility to uphold his legacy at BCW?
Oh, absolutely. Upholding his legacy can't do that by any means, can't even possibly begin to do that, but can carry some of his values. And some of his values that not only did he talk about all the time, but he exhibited them in his day-to-day interactions. I mean, everybody mattered. Every single person mattered. It didn't matter what your role was. It didn't matter what business you were working on. It didn't matter how well he knew you or how long you'd been with the company. Everybody mattered.
That's awesome.
And while business really kind of always came first, you know, he was a business person, and that's what he focused on. Everybody mattered, and he was so kind. And that's what I'm personally carrying forward is we can all get so caught up in the demands of our work and deadlines and you know, challenges to overcome and problems to fix. We have to just remember to be kind. And he was always kind. He talked about it all the time, and he did it all the time. So that's what I'm carrying forward.
That's awesome. I mean, as sad as it is, it must be a really nice moment for the firm to reaffirm its values. And have you felt this sense of people coming together within the company?
Absolutely. And not only within the company, but also outside of the core
legions
company. The legions of
Burson
people. I mean, literally, everybody always, all through the years, people talked about.
I feel left out that I never went to Burson. Like,
well,
I missed something.
I mean, as an industry, we always heard, oh, I'm a Burson person. And now I think we all really get it. Like the legions of alumni that have gone on to do, you know, different things, amazing things, pursued their own journeys, and how they've stayed together all these years. I mean, they really did, but now they're galvanized again, which is really, really cool
That's
really,
very
really cool to see.
I always think of like your special skill in sort of bringing people together, and I imagine that's been an important role you've played through the merger. Now you're 2 years in. How do you feel like things are going in terms of bringing people together? Is there more work to be done? Is it just business as usual at this point?
Well, people always say mergers are difficult. And I've been through some in my career, nothing of this magnitude.
Scale.
It's difficult. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The number of details, not just the obvious things you think of like teams and clients, because that's where we focused most of our effort on, but all the operational issues and the logistics and real estate terms and finance systems and email addresses. I mean, it is a difficult process. What was really interesting, though, throughout it, and we like to say that while it will probably never be over, we don't talk about it much anymore. We're together now. But what's been nice about it is the two organizations that came together were so complementary to each other. Conan Wolf had a certain legacy and skill set that it was known for. Burson Marsteller, clearly the go-to for so many things. Right. And when we came together, it was a natural complement. So as soon as teams got together and started working on a client or working on a pitch or cross-selling their skills, things just sort of naturally came together.
A lot of sense. Like it wasn't vying for who's the best at corporate, which teams. It's like, oh, we now have these really great consumer marketing experts that we can...
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Cool.
And we worked together before, too.
Right.
I mean, folks would use other resources in the other agencies because we were sister agencies. We were very close sister agencies. So there was already some of that happening naturally. Now we could just do it as a course of business.
Oh, that's really cool.
So that part's been great.
Talk a little bit about what you're seeing in terms of talent across the industry. It must occupy a lot of your time in your role.
Most of my time. Well, there's certainly not enough. There's never enough. And, my background, I've been at various kinds of agencies and disciplines, advertising, retail, promotion, digital, public relations. Talent's always the number one issue. And it's quite honestly, other than clients, it's been my number one focus as well. Because not only do we have to nurture the talent that we have and make sure that they're happy and productive and getting what they need, not just to do the work they have to get done today, but to help them manage their careers, we also have to be bringing in different kinds of talent. Right. And that's really been the focus in the last couple of years for us, not only because we want to diversify our skill sets in terms of creative and strategy and data analytics, which brings in new talent. But also we want a more diverse team, and we want a diversity of thought and background and geography and ethnicity and all of the...
Socioeconomic.
All of the above.
Right.
All of the above. Because that makes us all better. So that's really what we're focusing on. That's what we hear all our member firms focusing on as well. We want more talent, we want more diverse talent, and we want more diversity across the board.
And we want them now.
And we need them. Well, we need them
Right.
now. We need them now, yeah.
So that's a good transition. I'm so excited about your term as the PR Council Chair. And you have talked about, one of the goals during this leadership is to help agencies with talent. What do you see as some opportunities that the council can tackle?
Well, I think the big thing for me is that all of us as individual firms are wrestling with the challenge that is talent. We don't have enough of it. We need new skills. We need diversity, like we were just saying. And we're all grappling with it. So as a council, if we can help the industry attract new talent, young talent, diverse talent in many ways, then that'll help each of the individual firms with their own efforts. And maybe make it a little, like if we can make it a tiny bit easier for folks to attract talent and find it and recruit it into our industry as a discipline. Because we don't just compete against each other for talent, we compete with virtually every other industry at this point. Certainly tech and consulting and advertising and clients. I mean, it's hard to compete. So I think the more we can compete and be attractive as an industry, then the more every member firm's going to have more access to that talent.
So you shared some of your background. You have such a broad background, and including, starting your career in CPG brand management. Is there anything that's special or different about the talent that we need in PR agencies?
It's funny because I talk about that all the time, because we tend to think as an industry and as a discipline that we are so different than the other disciplines. We're so specialized, and we have our niche, and we have our specific skill sets, and we do. I mean, we definitely do. But having been on the client side, where I always just saw really one team, clients don't necessarily put you in silos. Some do, but not necessarily. I grew up at Johnson & Johnson. We didn't have silos in terms of our agency partners. So I learned one brand, one team. And as I've gone through my career and done the different disciplines, it really comes down to, understanding what your objective is, coming up with a strategy, using data, having a creative solution. I mean, it really isn't that different. It executes differently.
Right.
But from a strategic perspective, it's not that different. So I actually think as we're going through our transformation as an industry, the less we think about ourselves as being so specialized, the more we'll be able to grow.
And be open to different types of talent. I mean, I think sometimes we get so caught up in getting people who have PR internships, and they're going to, this sounds derogatory, but it's kind of plug and play. They walk into our agency and we can get them working right away because they've done it. They've been there, done that. But that's very limiting, isn't it?
It is. And one of the things I've been talking a lot with my teams as we're transforming and pushing our clients, or in some cases having our clients push us to come up with more integrated solutions, not just integrated in terms of advertising and PR and promotion, but integrated in terms of corporate branding, product sales, public affairs, crisis and issues management, which is the norm now. That kind of integration, it's so important to think about it as, sort of one effort.
Right.
And if you just keep hiring the same profile over and over again because it clicks off 5 of the boxes, and you don't think about the other 5 boxes, we're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again, and we're not going to transform. And it's something we talk about a lot. Don't keep hiring the same profile. And even with the talent that you have, push them outside of what they've been doing so they can be learning and growing and offer more as well.
So what are the fundamental things that you think agencies need to do, PR agencies need to do, to attract more and better skilled talent? Are there changes we need to make?
I think there are. I think that we need to be more attractive as a career option.
So what does that entail?
So people really coming into our industry and understanding what a career here looks like. Mm-hmm. Because I honestly think, although I just talked about how similar the disciplines are and how we compete with lots of different organizations to attract talent, I do think in public relations, the career paths are actually much more robust, and there's many more of them. Mm-hmm. And you can grow to become a generalist and run an agency. You can grow and become a specialist and really hone in and own one thing and be the expert in that thing. There's so many opportunities in our industry for thought leadership and for exploring other dimensions of the industry while you're doing your core function. I don't know that we have that in other industries the way PR has it. Right. And I think the more we can make that an attractive part of a career here and articulate it.
Right.
You can come here and be a writer. You can come here and be a videographer. You can come here and be a client service person. And you can also change your mind once you get here.
Which I think is really the benefit, is that you do get to recreate yourself
constantly
and follow a new path.
And it's easier, I think, in our discipline.
It's so funny because I hear all of this feedback that one of the reasons young people don't opt for public relations careers is there's not like a set training program. There's not like a set progression path, which I kind of see as an opportunity, but I guess it's harder to imagine what it would look like.
True, although I don't know that unless you really are developing a specialized skill, like copywriting, for example, or videography, I don't know that there's necessarily a training path for any thing necessarily. I think it's more of a better articulation of what you can do once you get into it. How you can take what you've learned in school or in some of your work experience and apply it to this discipline in a way that's unique. So I think it's more of an articulation of the opportunities than it is necessarily preparedness. Because I think if you come into the industry and you're smart and you're dedicated and you're willing to work hard and you have a client service perspective, there's so many things you can do. I just don't know if we articulate it very well.
Right. I think that's probably true. And things like PR being the most stressful job out there and things like that don't really help us, I guess, our reputation for spin.
True.
What are some of the initiatives that the council has lined up for this year that you're excited about?
We have so many things.
Too many, might say.
As you know, so many things that are continuing that have gotten great traction and great response from our members, and then a lot of things that are new. I think there's two that kind of excite me the most. The first one is a little softer, and that is our desire to have our members interact and engage more. Yeah. And to socialize a little bit more and to spend more time together, not just at our own events, but at industry events where we can go as a group. I'm really excited about that because I think that's one of the big benefits of being a member. Not even just an agency member, but a team member on the agency that's the agency member.
Right.
And
that's deep.
Yeah, exactly. The folks that are just joining the industry and their agency's a member will come and network and meet people. That's how I honestly got first engaged with the council when I first came into public relations. It was through a party and then a dinner and then a happy hour. And I was like, wow, this is really cool that the industry is so engaged with each other. Because I don't know that that's true as much in other disciplines. So I'm super excited about that. And we've got some things in store to make that easier for people. Yep. And then I think the other piece that is super exciting is some of the industry thought leadership and setting standards for the industry that we've started to do in the past, and now we've got more things planned. Because I think as a industry agent, if you will, for the member firms, it's important for us to set standards and standards that the agencies can live by because it's the right thing to do, or it helps them do their business together, or attracts more talent. I'm really super excited about those
yeah,
things.
I think there are so many things we do in that area, and sort of my dream is that clients opt for a PR council member because they know all those standards are in place. That code of ethics is incredibly up to date for where modern PR is today. The employee practices, the diversity practices are absolutely the most appropriate, forward-looking, all of those things, I think, make the agency selection easier if you just look for that PR council validation, right?
Absolutely. I mean, if you're a member of the Council of PR Firms, then you're going to be a qualified, partner with them. And I also think that it not only raises the bar for the industry, which is important, but a lot of our member firms don't have a lot of resources, so they don't have the time or the folks that can focus on some of these things. Right. So if they can just sort of pick up what is known to be best practice, or even forward-thinking leadership, then that just makes it easier for them.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I'm incredibly passionate about, it's different for companies like BCW where you're holding company owned, and you do have resource helping you wade through things like technology. But I think for our smaller members, we can bring so much value by helping with technology. So we did the technology benchmark study. We're going to do that technology stack share. It's going to be really interesting to see who will play along on that. But what incredible learnings, and just helping members, because you can really go down a big rabbit hole looking at all of these different platforms. And they kind of sound the same.
They sound the same, and not have the weight of all these member firms to help you sort it out. When you're, and I had my own agency at one point. I've been at smaller firms, and you often just don't even have the not only the bandwidth but even the clout to negotiate a good rate or to get to the best supplier. You just
Right.
may not have that ability. So it can be super helpful.
Yeah, no, I think we can bring a lot of value there, so I'm excited about that. It's been so great talking with you, and I'm so excited about working with you for the next 2 years. One last question. So I'm a big Hidden Brain fan, and I love the very sweet way they end every podcast with recognizing an unsung hero. And I have a lot of heart for this because I think there are so many unsung heroes at agencies. Will you tell us about one at BCW?
Absolutely, absolutely. Maybe not completely unsung because she's making such an impact, but shortly after we announced the merger, we very consciously knew in our heart of hearts that culture was going to be a really huge part of making this merger successful. And while we wanted to take the best of both cultures, we wanted something new. We didn't want it to be culture A or culture B. We knew we wanted something that was really kind of meaningful and groundbreaking and of the order of this newly merged company. So one of the first things we did, which in hindsight was super smart, is we hired a chief culture officer. And she has been unbelievable in bringing real thought leadership to not just talking about your culture and putting a poster up on the wall, but actually what does it mean to not only have a culture, but to actually embody it and have everybody be a part of building it, but then also live it.
Right.
So she's not completely unsung because she's been working with everybody all around the world, and people are loving it. They talk about it's the best part of their day to like work with her and think about what they want the BCW culture to be. But she still is very much unsung because, you know, outwardly facing our client work and the work that we showcase to
Right.
the world, you know, doesn't show that. But without the right culture, none of that happens.
Right.
So
Well,
it's
dare we say her name?
Kristen Lasanti.
I
Amazing.
knew that. Yeah, I don't know her well, but everything I hear and see from her is amazing. Very lucky
forward
to
thinking.
have her there.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being my guest
It was
today.
a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the PR Council's Agencies of the Future podcast. You can find more episodes on our website, prcouncil.net, or wherever you subscribe to podcasts. A special thank you to David Rodriguez and Taylor Studios, our 2020 podcast production partner.